All right, folks, welcome to Nino's Corner.tv. I told you I'd bring the ghost on. Ghost, you've made a lot of I don't know, predictions or prophetic, I don't even know what to call them, uh statements about what would happen during this process with Trump and Kamala. And you kept telling me, man, this is gonna be handled the night of. You said this will go down, this will be an election, and Trump will be victorious. There's safeties in place. So I know there's a lot of details on this stuff that we'll talk about on Nino's Corner.tv. A lot of I don't know, I guess things that have happened behind the scenes that I don't feel comfortable talking about on FluffTube, but because they'd be labeled conspiracy on here. But we'll talk about them in Nino's Corner.tv. First of all, Ghost, thank you for joining me.
Hey, brother, anytime, anytime. And I'm just waking up. Was up pretty late, just watching things, and well, it went pretty much, as I expected, and I never wavered from. And I'm not saying to say, "Oh, I told you so," because I'm not that guy. But I did maintain he will win, and I never deviated from that. He
Yeah, I
had
you know I
he
had
had
I
to
had I had steak dinners bet with people saying, dude, I was certain that they were going to try to stop it only because I knew that he would be winning so big that I felt that they would try to stop it somehow, halt it. That just made the most sense to me, but it looked like they were not allowed to, they weren't able to do that. They weren't able to achieve that.
I wonder why. For the back channel.
Okay, well, let's talk about that on
But yeah,
Nino'sCorner.tv.
because number one, if you just took it from the perspective of looking at and listening to people all over the country, and uh, the sentiment that the prevailing sentiment, everyone was sick and tired of the sophomoric at this point propagandist machines like MSNBC and CNN, which, by the way, were put on the selling block, and there are no takers yet.
They were put on the selling block.
Yeah,
So they're
and
going to get the legacy media is going down then.
that's kind of looks that way, doesn't it?
Folks, get your
Because
noble gold. Get your noble gold. Gold just hit another record, but here's what's really interesting. It's been doing that a lot lately. It's up to 33.26% year to date. While election drama has everyone else nervous, gold investors are sleeping pretty well at night. Makes sense. For thousands of years, gold has been the grown up in the room during uncertain times. That's why investors are moving to noble gold investments now. Not tomorrow, not next month, right now. Don't miss out. Visit noblegoldinvestments.com today and bag one up to 10 1 ounce silver Trump coins or a 10-ounce silver American flag bar with a qualified account. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com. Get on that now. Ghost. So let me ask you, man. We'll go into what how you knew what was going to happen behind the scenes. I heard there was a lot of seizures, a lot of confiscations going on when they were trying to drop off certain things. We'll get into that on the back channel. But what do you think is the play now? What possibly could they do now? It seems to me like we have the high ground now. And I've said this many times on my show. I said, we got to get the high ground. They got to be the one contesting it. They got to have the mud on their face. That's where we're at right now. I don't see how we can lose this, or we
yeah,
can.
because if they want to contest it, well, do you really want to bring everything out into the open from 16, 18, 20, 22? Do they really want to bring all that out in the open? I believe it's going to come out in the open, and people will know. They need to know how the steals were done from the local level all the way to the top. Um, but what you saw was the overwhelmingly prevailing sentiment in this country as of the last 4 years, and prior to that with many, many people.
So
But
would
we
you
know what
say?
happened. We know what happened in
But would you say it worked out strategically well? Because we've always talked about that this was a red pill process these last 4 years, a sting operation, and now we finally got to 2024, and bam, it happened. And now I'm looking back hindsight, and I'm looking at everything as strategy. I'm looking at Jill Biden showing up to vote in a red dress or red suit. That was a huge calm to me. Was it? I mean, were these the things that were happening behind the scenes?
Um, yeah, there was a lot behind the scenes, a whole lot, and it all went for the right reasons, and uh, I'm trying to choose words here without offending fluff. Um, let's put it this way. Do I even think the numbers that we saw are accurate? Probably not. I think it was probably a bigger blowout than anybody would have, let's say, imagined. But look at how it worked out. Even if the opposition did try the same mechanisms, let's say, it was too overwhelming. So everything then settled on very reasonable numbers: popular vote, electoral college, and then we're talking. Well, look at the Senate and look at the House. Yeah, they're going to try to hold those few seats that are still undecided. They're going to try to play little dirty tricks to get whatever advantage they can. But in the end, you're going to see that House and Senate also have a majority Republican now. And a lot of them that were voted in are the right ones. They're America first. And you couple that with things saying a couple of weeks ago that basically their plan has little chance of let's say their objectives have little chance of succeeding because of the sentiment in the American public. When people were watching the polls, they were watching, with the exception of Rasmussen and a few others, they were watching pure propaganda. Again, pure propaganda, lies. They are allowed, mainstream media, being the let's say the face of this agenda. Uh, they they stoop to a level of insignificance and ignorance that is just beyond the pale. Do they not think that Americans had long lost a taste for their nonsense? Yeah, quite a long time
Well,
ago.
the states that
But I
he
think what
won,
you said is right. They had last 4 years was crucial, and it had to play out in many ways the way it played out to show people what this globalist agenda's face was really like.
you know,
And
the New
you
York
know,
Times put out a hit piece on Trump already. So they're already coming out with the hit pieces. And it says, to roughly half the country, President Mr. Trump's rise portends a dark turn for American democracy, whose future
okay,
will now depend on a man who has openly talked about undermining the rule of law. Mr. Trump held inspiring assault on the Capitol in 2021, has threatened to imprison political adversaries, and was denounced as a fascist by former aides. But for their supporters, Trump's provocations became selling points rather than pitfalls. I mean,
but yet they
they're
were the
already
first. They
starting.
were the first. The Cabal Times was the first major outlet to say he won last night.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
So the Cabal Times comes out with, yes, he won. There's nothing we can do about it. And then they're going to naturally follow up with these purely nonsensical, horribly written, horribly thought out pieces that they think will still work. Why? Because it's not over yet. Yes, he's won. He's in. but now we have next phase.
When you say next phase, what's the next phase?
Well, what would be the next moves of that uh, central banking system
All right,
gasping for
let's talk
air?
about that on
Oh,
.tv.
yeah. Or so, what would be the natural response of those gasping for air to hit pieces like this
Hit pieces and stoking the fire
and
for civil
stoking
unrest.
for yes to so
And now we got
if
to
they
worry
pull that
about
trigger,
and
they
we got to worry
and
about all
again,
the immigrants that are here as well. I mean, they're all realizing now they're going to be going home.
right. So they're going to be a little bit more motivated to be naughty.
Jeez.
And so, we're not out of the woods. This is by far not over, but uh, I don't think of it as Normandy or anything prior to that. I think of this one as basically a bridge too far, except this time, let's be careful and not go for that bridge too far. Secure what can be secured and then move
Well,
on from there.
well, now we have the high ground, which is, I said, this is where we want to be. So at least we have that. We have the
Exactly.
morale of the country. We have the momentum. Anything they do now, they're going to look pathetic. They're going to look pathetic. They're going to have mud on their face. So whatever they
Pathetic
try
and
now, no one's going
criminal.
to fall for it. Maybe
Right.
their side will, the real desperate. I mean, I thought I'd see a lot more civil unrest occurring right now. I don't think there's any.
No, no. It's because remember remember the people all the let's say rioting or protesting in Los Angeles a few years ago, and you remember
Yeah.
well, this wasn't made public, but there was a video taken of by a contact and actually a close friend of everyone lined up on Wilshire Boulevard collecting on their $1,000 pair of Nikes for showing up at these demonstrations. Thousands,
On the
thousands of people.
on the back channel, I want to get your point of view. What's in store for people, for Kamala, for these dark side players, these actors? What's in store for them? I mean, and we'll talk about it more on the other on the back channel because this is fluff too. But I'm imagining this is going to be they know their fates are sealed, right, Ghost? I mean, they know they're done
Yeah,
with.
it's just a matter of time before justice is meted, and how that is meted out all depends on what the next moves would be. So, yes, we have the high ground. It usually takes 10 to 1 to take a high ground position, fortified position. For every one up on the mountain, you need at least 10 to take it.
So
So they don't have that.
when Trump goes after them, all the rhetoric that they're spewing, the hostilities that all the stuff they're saying about Mr. T, they're going to say, "See, told you so," and point fingers at him, saying, "We told you he was the bad man from Germany. Look how he's acting. He's coming after all of us. Retribution." When really they're the ones that committed the crimes.
They were the Fourth Reich, and they're saying people. I saw comments to the effect that, "Oh, the Fourth Reich has been voted in." No, they were the Fourth Reich.
All right, hold on.
They were acting. They were acting like fascists. They were do every. They were playing projection the entire way, and everyone with any lick of sense knows that, could see it, and it was very easy to identify. And for those out there who were affected by mainstream media, I would say to you, you've got a little more ways to go, because when you look at it pragmatically, objectively, propaganda is lies. And all of the mainstream media could do was pump out lies. That's all they had left. You know, another comment I saw that was close with, people thinking that, oh, okay, I'm not kidding you. This was actually said by someone. Now he's and by a very educated someone. Now, now
Be
he's going
vague.
to take fun, huh?
Be kind of vague.
I will. Now he's going to take funds from education by either restructuring or simply dissolving the Department of Education and giving it back to the states and let the states handle their money the way they see fit. I'm not kidding you. It was said that means they're going to be rounding up the challenged children, the ones, the
Yeah.
short bus
Oh,
like AOC, and with the military. I kid you not. These kinds of words are coming out of intelligent, what if you met them on the street and it was a casual interaction, what seemed like decent people. But this is what's coming out of their mouths. So
so that's what they have to resort to now. That's what they have to resort to now. They have to resort to this, to bashing him like they did in 2016, but this time they're going to go all in. They're going to really
they
try to
don't,
make.
yeah, and they don't have the Russians, and I don't know who the boogeyman is this time that they're going to try to align him with, but they don't have the Russians anymore.
So
That
this,
ship sailed long ago.
so this is a huge, huge loss for them. This is like, man, they're probably right now in shock, not knowing what they're going to do. The only thing they could do is throw the chessboard, knock over the chessboard, right, and point
That's
fingers. This,
all. I,
could
I
we see
quit. Stand up and
self-deleting?
flip the board.
Could we see self-deleting or them deleting each other? Is that going to happen?
As time progresses, I would imagine that will progress in frequency and a few other things. Because, you know, there are many of us who never deviated. You would get back in.
Let's take
That,
this to
yeah,
Nino's Corner.tv and let's go really deep into this for my audience because I want to talk about some stuff that obviously I'm not comfortable on here on this platform. But all right, folks, I'll see you at Nino's Corner.tv with the ghost. He's going to talk about everything that's happened behind the scenes that he knows about and what the next play is going to be later.